Hello everyone, welcome to InBetween Insight. InBetween Insight shares different topics about culture and also the relationship between culture and business, society, people, as well as the whole world. I'm your host Betty from China. Now say hi to you in Shanghai. Today let's talk about language and culture and what role language plays when people try to understand another culture from the local people's perspective. The truth is, everybody could have opinion about what a certain culture looks like, but without being able to speak, write, listen, and read local language, and so to have in-depth interaction and exchange with local people, one will very likely view and understand the local culture from his or her own culture perspective instead of locals. Here we have to resist our inclination of judging, whose opinion is right or who is wrong, because this kind of judgment won't have any value until we are certain that we perceive the same fact. Let me give you an example to explain what I mean by perceive the same fact. Now we all know that there are some people who cannot figure out the color of gray since they were born. But let's imagine, before this syndrome of color blindness has been found out by scientists, does it make any sense for people who are not color blindness argue with rose color blindness whether the color they see is green or not? The people who are insist they don't see green, they're not lying. The truth is, they cannot perceive the color of green by nature. And that is what I meant by perceive the same fact. In this case, people don't perceive the same fact. Thus, they have different opinions. Moreover, people's perceptions are not only influenced by our biological condition, but also the culture backgrounds. Culture is a big factor which shapes our perception, and I will explain later. People who lived abroad many years may still keep as a local culture outsider if he or she has no knowledge about the local language. Language is the main tool for people to learn the world and also to communicate, understand, and coordinate with other people. Our worldview, value, beliefs, as well as all the knowledge we have, are built upon and delivered through our own language system, and that include the words we use and how we use these words. People cannot survive and develop without collaborating with others. So you could say language is the main pillar for the survival and development of our society. And when a person enters a new cultural context, let's say going abroad to a country where the locals speak different national language than he or she does, this person usually will go through a tough time adapting to the local environment, especially interacting with local people. Why? One of the main reasons is he or she has difficulty in communicating with local people. People, especially adults, are sense-making creatures. We try to understand what makes sense and what does not make sense through communicating with others. If people cannot speak the local language or speak a very poor local language, thus people cannot exchange ideas and opinions with local people. And very often, the two groups of people end up in having very different opinions about the same situation without knowing the other side has different opinions. This is one of the reasons which causes a lot of misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and conflicts among the culture insiders and the culture outsiders. If one person has been brought up in one certain country, this person's experience, memory will have a mark of this country's unique culture tradition, which be generated during hundreds, even thousands of years of the country's history. In all over the world, a country's culture tradition influences its own people's value, belief, and perspective and behavior in a very intangible and subtle way. People who are living all alone within certain cultural contexts usually can't aware the existence of their unique culture until one day people go to another country or go to learn a second language. There's a joke say the relationship between a person and the culture which resolves this person is like fish and water. Fish will never realize the existence of water until one day the fish leaves the water. We all know that people from some European countries like to kiss their friend's face when they meet. And however, this is not universal custom. People from Asia don't share this tradition. So imagine a man from one of these European countries comes to China first time without speaking any Chinese language or doesn't have sufficient knowledge about Chinese culture. If he tries to kiss a Chinese female friend when he meets her, while this female friend speaks very poor English and also doesn't have sufficient knowledge about Western culture, what will happen? Well, very likely the things will get awkward, while neither of them can make themselves well understood by the other side because of language gap. The result might be what the man takes for granted as a polite gesture will be interpreted by this woman as sexual harassment. As you can see, without the language as a tool to help people to communicate or even at some crucial moments to clarify themselves, culture misunderstandings will happen very frequently, not to mention about understanding local people's perspectives. To sum up, language plays a very crucial role of understanding a culture from local people's perspectives. Be careful when somebody claims they are experts of certain culture without being able to speak the local language. They might be able to contribute to one perspective, but can miss the local's perspective. So what can people do when they don't speak, each other's language, but have to do business with each other? Just hire a language translator or interpreter who are able to solve the communication problem or deliver an effective business negotiation or meeting? The answer is yes and no. And unfortunately, the no situations happen a lot. And in many cases, language translators and interpreters might be able to help with certain part of language problem, but definitely not all, especially the language associated with certain culture or business knowledge, which hiding in the process of how people handle the conversation in different contexts. And I will explain to you how this happened next time. And this is today's InBetween Insight. I'm Betty. I work as cross-culture communication consultant, helping organizations and people to handle their varied business tasks in the cross-culture context. And I believe simplicity is ultimate form of sophistication. So if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to get in touch. I would love to hear from you soon. So see you next time. Bye.